Patience and imperfection. These attributes, as simple as they may seem, are essential for being satisfied with our own work. The more we seek to polish away the very imperfections that makes our work real, the less meaningful it becomes. As I relaxed in the shade of a pinyon pine on a windy morning in Zion, I reflected on my experience over the past 5 days. It was a fitting end for perhaps my most productive spring trip in years. It's now early June, a month and a half beyond my typical window for visiting the canyons of southern Utah. There's often a narrow window with mild temperatures and good weather, after the storms of spring and before the heat of summer. But this year, that window failed to arrive. An early monsoon season followed the usual spring storms, bringing with it thunderstorms typically seen during the summer months. The dirt roads to reach these canyons are impassable when wet, and when it comes to hiking, these canyons are very much a fair weather location. With heavy rain comes flash floods, powerful enough to uproot trees and to move large rocks. Although today's forecast calls for scattered showers, the next several days will be mostly clear with mild temperatures. Perfect weather for venturing into the canyons of southern Utah. On this visit, I'll return to a canyon I explored for the first time last year. I have several subjects in mind, though much of that will rely on clear skies with calm wind. Even a single cloud is enough to spoil the beautifully warm reflected light. This is a story of my spring of 2023 backpacking trip to the canyons of southern Utah. Well, after 12 hours of driving, I've arrived at where I'll be camping for the night. And this is not the trailhead that I'll be going to tomorrow. But it's close enough, and this is also the last little bit where I get just a tiny bit of a cell signal, which is kind of nice to ease into the trip before I'm completely, cut off tomorrow. But as I was driving in, it was blue skies for the vast majority of the drive, and then some little puffy clouds. And as I got closer to where I am now, these storm clouds really started building. It started raining a little bit, and I couldn't quite tell if it was going to be a heavier rain or just a light rain, and it was more on the side of just kind of a light rain. But all the roads here, once I get beyond where I am now, once I get to the area where it's all the dirt roads and the off-roading kind of stuff, if there's a decent amount of rain in those areas, the roads basically become like thick clay, like peanut butter. It's impassable when there's a lot of rain. So I wanted to play it safe and head over here. But yeah, so I think I will treat myself to a little bit of an early dinner and probably just relax and read a book or something along those lines. But yeah, it was quite the drive. Well, as is often the case, I decided not to take my own advice and rest and relax. Though I did make dinner, but then I drove probably about 5 minutes or so from where I'll be camping for the night. And I remembered on the drive in that there was this area with some interesting wildflowers here. I have no clue what type of flowers they are, but they smell amazing. And they're set amongst the sagebrush And then also there's this fallen trunk here, which is pretty cool. So set up a vertical composition with my 240mm lens, and it's really sunny now. I mean, I'm really wishing that some of those clouds from earlier were around, so I'd have some nice subdued light. But the wind is reasonable, so I think I will sit on this until either a cloud goes over to get some soft light on the scene, or until the sun drops a bit lower in the sky. But one of the things that does a really good job with the first day funk is taking a photo. So finding something so close to camp, I think, will be a good way to get the trip started ahead of the backpacking trip, which is going to be tomorrow morning. But we'll see what happens with the light. So there's this cloud out to the west that has been kind of hanging in place there. And I was able to expose a single sheet of Provia in a moment when the subject was in shade and the wind was relatively calm. And I didn't record any video of that just because it was a lot to juggle. But we'll see. Everything's kind of in motion right now. It's not a lot of wind. It's just like this subtle breeze. But there's still quite a ways until sunset. And I'm debating whether I should just wrap things up and be happy with what I got, or try for a photo as when the sun drops back behind the trees and stuff on the horizon. Because when that happens, I'll have soft light, but also my exposure times will be longer and the wind might be more of an issue. So we'll see. But I literally have nothing else to do, so I'll probably just wait here. The flowers I photographed that evening are desert glow mallow. And if not for the threat of impassable roads from the thunderstorm overhead, I would have continued on to the trailhead, missing out on this subject. I exposed 2 sheets of Provia 100F, and despite the near constant wind, the mixed light, and the narrow depth of field, I'm quite satisfied with how this photo turned out. Provia handled the color and the contrast beautifully, imperfections and all. 19 days later, I returned to this very spot with my wife to show her many of the places I've explored through the years. The photo on the left is a scouting photo from my solo trip taken with my iPhone. The photo on the right was taken when I returned with my wife 19 days later. I even found several of my own footprints in the sand from my previous visit. Seeing the stark difference with my own eyes made me all the more grateful for my experience that evening. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you around next time. You may have noticed this video has no ads and no sponsors, and I think it's nicer that way. If you enjoy this ad-free and clickbait-free content and want to help me live my dream, a voluntary contribution through PayPal or by joining my Patreon helps keep my gas tank full and my film freezer stocked. You can find more information by visiting my website at benhorne.com/donate. I also have prints, ebooks, and my annual portfolio is available on my website. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you around next time.